It's time, Cougar Nation. Cougar Tracks. The best season analysis with BYU insider Mitch Harper on KSL NewsRadio and on video every day on the YouTube page for KSL Sports.
Welcome into Cougar Tracks here on the KSL Sports YouTube and KSL NewsRadio, your legacy home of the Cougars. I am your BYU insider, Mitch Harper. It's Thursday, December 4th. We're 2 days away until BYU takes on the number 4 ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders in the Big 12 football championship game. Kickoff on Saturday is at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Central in Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium. Pregame begins at 8 a.m. on the legacy home of the Cougars, KSL. And just a programming note, Friday night, 7 to 9 p.m., myself and Kyle Ireland, we will have a special live preview show from Arlington, Texas to get you ready for the Cougars and the Red Raiders in a game where BYU has to punch its ticket to the college football playoff because this selection committee is doing no favors for BYU, and that's our top story of the day.
The top story of the day. The biggest story in the world of BYU sports right here on Cougar Tracks.
It's nice to finally see that the nation, pockets of the college football community, social media are starting to realize that BYU is being completely disrespected. But what I would say, though, is that too little, too late. BYU has been sitting at number 11 for a handful of weeks now, and no one has batted an eye. Until now, the penultimate rankings, and everyone's thinking, wow, championship weekend's happening. There's an 11-1 football team because 11 wins in college football in the regular season is a massive number. There's a team with 11 wins playing in a Power 4 championship game, and there's a team in front of them in Notre Dame who's not playing in a championship game, who's lost 2 games. College Football Playoff Committee continues to show they are so biased, and they continue to make it up as they go along. Cougar Nation understands this is just the same old song and dance. I'm to the point now, though, where I just want the College Football Playoff Committee to just say straight up, hey, we don't think you're any good. Just say it like that. Don't say, oh, yeah, we got a ton of respect for BYU. However, Notre Dame did this. Alabama did this. Oklahoma did that. No, just say straight up, we don't think you're any good. You're still a former independent that's only a few years removed. We don't think your league's that good either outside of Texas Tech. We think you're a fraud. Just say it like that. And then we know where it stands instead of these comments that never can nail down the committee to anything direct. They never speak in absolutes. It's always very open-ended to where they can move the goalpost, and every single week they can justify moving the target. The Big 12 Conference put out a graphic on social media on Wednesday, which pretty much highlights the facts, and that's how they put it. Facts, BYU versus Notre Dame. Best overall record. Advantage BYU, 11-1 BYU, 10-2 Notre Dame. Highest strength of record, ESPN FPI. Advantage BYU. Highest strength of schedule, ESPN FPI. Advantage BYU. Most wins versus current college football playoff top 25 teams. Advantage BYU. Arizona's ranked number 18. Utah is ranked number 15. I honestly think the disrespect to Utah is unfair, too. Utah's 2 losses are to the number 11 team and the number 4 team. But obviously this show is not worried about Utah, per se. But still, it's unfair to the Big 12. Best record versus teams with winning record. Advantage BYU. This isn't even a debate. You can go on. And then playing in a conference championship game, BYU in the Big 12, Notre Dame's sitting back. They just got done playing a game against Stanford. BYU played Stanford too. And look, Notre Dame, had a bigger margin of victory in that. And could you see something like that? Well, we gave the advantage to Notre Dame because they had a greater margin of victory in common opponents against Stanford. So we gave them the edge. See, that's the type of stuff we could see, though, with the College Football Playoff Committee. Wins versus bowl-eligible teams, BYU 6, Notre Dame 4. Strength of schedule. BYU 35th, Notre Dame 42. It goes on. And it's just, it's not right. BYU is a great program. A great program. They're not blue blood. But, man, this is a winning program that's been doing it at a high level for 50 years. That's what I don't understand either. You know, a lot of the time when it comes to the College Football Playoff Committee, it seems like they give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to programs that have done it for a long period of time. And I get that completely. But BYU's been doing it for a high level for 50 years. And for the majority of those 50 years, they were outside the power structure, yet they were punching well above their weight. And for whatever reason, they still can't get any respect. It was nice to see Kalani Sitake, fresh off an extension, hop on Wake Up Barstool and BYU Sports Nation and kind of ripping the committee for once. Kalani's usually very diplomatic, kind of holds off, doesn't really stir the pot. Hopefully, new expansion or extension Kalani Sitake, who's got all the job security in the world now, hopefully he's sounding off a little more. I like a little bit salty Kalani. I loved it. Brett Yormark, Big 12 commissioner. You could argue, should he be doing more? Because the ACC's been putting out propaganda between Miami and BYU. It was nice to see the Big 12 putting out that graphic of BYU versus Notre Dame. This was Brett Yormark on the playoff outlook for both Texas Tech and BYU heading into Saturday's championship game.
Both programs are not only worthy of competing in the Big 12 title, but they both deserve to be in the CFP based on their resumes and their bodies of work. Texas Tech's terrific season has them firmly in the CFP, no doubt. They are a shoo-in, and I said that last Friday. BYU's body of work at 11-1 is being undervalued by the CFP committee at number 11 in rankings. Let's not look at logos. Let's look at resumes. Any blind resume comparison has BYU in the top 10. No question about it. In comparison with Notre Dame, as an example, BYU has a better overall record, better strength of record, and better strength of schedule. I am confident that the CFP will get it right for BYU.
Kind of basically a lack of confidence that Brett thinks, Commissioner Yormark thinks that BYU is just going to get handled by Texas Tech. So he's saying the committee is going to do right by BYU. Is he just automatically guaranteeing an L against Texas Tech this week? I guess Yormark just thinks it's going to be an automatic L against the Red Raiders. You know, I hate the logo line, even though it's true that Yormark said, but again, BYU's got a great logo too. A lot of winning at BYU, Heisman winner, national championship. There's history at BYU too. Why does the history of BYU not matter in this world? I'll never understand it in college football. Why? Help it make sense. Do they need to beat teams by 40 points a week? It's not possible, but is that what it needs to be? Notre Dame, I'll give them credit. Average margin of victory, 24.4 points, BYU 11.5. So Notre Dame's got the edge there. But even then, though, we've seen BYU teams in the past, in the Mountain West, in Independence, thumping teams. And then it becomes, well, your schedule's not strong enough. They always move the goalposts. Again, last spring when I was at the Big 12 meetings in Florida, and they were pushing for 5+11, 16-team playoff format with 11 at-large bids, the thought on the surface was nice because they were of the belief that with the way that they're investing in these Big 12 programs, it's going to naturally lead to more access because they're investing at an incredibly high level, despite getting far less media rights dollars than the Big 10 and the SEC. No, you can't go for that route. You have got to fight tooth and nail to get a 24-team bracket with 4 automatic qualifiers for each Power 4 league. That's what the Big 12 needs, because whether it's 12 or 16, with a heavy emphasis on the committee, you will never get into this thing. It will always be a 1 or 2 bid league. You go back to when TCU played Kansas State, they had no problem propping up a multiple loss Kansas State team in the top 10. but it was only a 14 playoff. So, yeah, sure, I'll throw you in the top 10. Give you a bone. In this format, though, you're not touching the top 12 very often. And if you are, it's because group of 5 teams in another power league, their champion is below you. And, so then BYU at number 11. This is a league that's going to be pigeonholed into a one bid every year. Brett Yormark has got to fight tooth and nail for a 24-team bracket. That's what this league needs. And then you settle it on the field. I keep hammering that notion home. The people that say that is a dumb format, it kind of is. But you know what? I'm sick and tired of college football being like this. It needs to be over with. We need a new system in this sport. Let's take a break. We get to more BYU football talk as the Cougars get ready to take on the Red Raiders coming up around the corner here on Cougar Tracks, and it's powered by KSL Sports. Welcome back into Cougar Tracks here on the KSL Sports YouTube page. Every single day, we've got you covered with BYU Sports Talk here on Cougar Tracks. Make sure to subscribe to the show. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. Helps out the show a ton. And also, subscribe to the KSL Sports YouTube. Like this video if you're watching. Appreciate however you're listening or watching the show. Appreciate you for all being on board. Still kind of closing thoughts on the Kalani Sitake extension from a few days ago. It's been funny to see kind of the crumble jokes on social media. There was a crumble cookie box at the Virginia Tech signing day event with James Franklin, the former Penn State coach. When asked, he was actually asked about this, if that was an indirect reference, and I guess Franklin shot it down, saying it wasn't. But the crumble jokes were great. Garrett McClintock of the Give Him Hell Brigham podcast, great guy, love Garrett. He sends a DoorDash to Penn State's facility. Unbelievable. Just great stuff. And what's also great, though, is that BYU used the leverage that Kalani kind of created, but Kalani was, it was not just saying, oh, I'm not going to hear it out. I mean, this was not a thought of just simply, I'm under no circumstances not leaving BYU. This was not that case. Penn State was a real threat, as we all know. But what was nice, though, is that leverage forced the situation to where that blue blood brand that was coming for your head coach forced BYU to step it up to the highest level. And look, the specific numbers, again, BYU will never release that. They'll never go public and be out in the open about their numbers. They are always going to be super private about anything numbers-wise. But one thing we do know is that they've got an influx of media rights, about $31.5 million. Then you factor in bowl money, NCAA tournament units. It's going to be north probably of $50 million per team in the Big 12. Full share. So money is there. And then you factor in BYU's NIL commitments from boosters and all the donations from donors, the support. I mean, BYU, they're leveling up. They're investing in Kalani Sitake. I think it's a huge moment for BYU because they're basically saying we can compete with blue blood resources and do it our own way. Now, you can say, is the BYU way looking a lot like other places? It kind of is still. But I do believe that BYU still has kind of this touch about the way they go about things where they really do, to their core, want it to be a holistic, all-encompassing experience for athletes, even for an AJ DeBonsa, where, you know, he's coming in for 1 year, he's getting paid a ton of money, but you want him to be part of the community. You want him to be part of the school. You want him to experience the wholesome nature of BYU and become a better member of society from that experiences and life lessons that you learned at BYU. That's what it's all about. And it's exciting for Cougar Nation to go into a phase where BYU sports, because this will be a new era again. The first 3 years in the Big 12 was almost BYU Big 12 1.0. Starting next year, and maybe this Saturday against Texas Tech, it's BYU in the Big 12 2.0 under Kalani. There's a feeling now with the commitment, the stability, that why not go chase a national title? And I know I was just ripping the playoff because they will not give you access. But still, there is a path if you just win and you're in, and I hate that bid thief stuff, but that's beside the point. You're chasing something big. You're trying to climb the ladder, as Brian Santiago said, and try to go win something great. And Kalani Sitake runs this football program. It is his. There have been many times during his tenure where you hear behind the scenes about how if they could get this more support for this and that, and if they acted a little bit quicker. Well, that day is here now. And Kalani is the face of BYU football, and he has everything in front of him to get it done at the highest level and execute his vision the way that he wanted it to be when he took this job in 2016. And for that, I think this is such a, not want to say historic, but just a significant moment in BYU football history. It's a massive moment because you're basically saying this is the guy that's going to give BYU football a chance to break through, go to the playoff, and win games and compete at the highest level, not just for 1 year, but to be in the mix and in contention on an annual basis. That's what they're shooting for. They're trying to do it big. They're not trying to just win 8 or 9 games every single year. They've done that for 40 plus years. They're looking to take it to a higher level. And with the signing day class that they got yesterday and all the momentum that's happening in the program, it's exciting times for Kalani Sitake and his BYU football program. And I thought it was noteworthy, too, when Vice President Keith Vorkink at the press conference, referenced the statement from President C. Shane Reese. He was traveling. Just some of the comments, and we'll play that clip right now, but the support, the way that this school, the church at large views Kalani Sitake, it's significant. He's no longer just this alum that was the fullback. This is a well-respected man that they absolutely needed. Here was VP Keith Vorkink.
President Reese is traveling. Invited me to read this statement. In many ways, Kalani Sitake is the public face of Brigham Young University. He leads our most prominent athletic team, and you couldn't ask for a better exemplar of the Christ-centered values for which this university stands. In saying that, I also communicate the great trust and confidence of BYU's Board of Trustees that they have in Kalani Sitake's unwavering commitment to BYU's mission, which helps to build student athletes who learn by studying and by faith. Someone recently said that BYU wants to win, but BYU wants to win as a family. Kalani is family, and we couldn't be more pleased that he'll be staying at BYU for all the right reasons and leading our football program into the Big 12 championship this week. And I'll just second President's words. We're so excited for all that Kalani represents and for the future of him leading our football program.
Good stuff there from Vice President Keith Vorkink. And again, you heard it in that clip. BYU wants to win at the highest levels, but they want to do it in their way with family. That is a big thing. And for Kalani's program, that is 100% the case. Family is what he's all about. And to help out his assistant coaches, his support staff, the people at the very lowest levels of the football program, he wanted all of them to be taken care of. And I just thought it was cool, too, the real emotion from Kalani Sitake. I think these college football coaches are highly paranoid. They often are very transactional, and they don't have real emotion for the places that they coach at. Maybe they do. Again, I'm up close with BYU, but the authenticity of Kalani Sitake, a man that he's a self-made man, and you admire the heck out of that. I know I do. And this was Kalani at his extension presser.
The goal here was for me not only to be here for a long time, but also to take care of my coaching staff and my support staff. And this allows us to do that, and also to take care of our players. So there's a strong commitment from the university to do those things, and that speaks to my heart. And so that was easy for me to agree to do that if they took care of my people, like Brian said. And then I want to express my love to my family. Pops, all my family. I mean, I got tons of cousins, you guys know. Even some that claim me that we're not blood related, but it's okay. But thankful to all my family. I've been raised by a village, and I hope I can make them proud. And so, with that, also want to express my love and appreciation to my best mentor. That's my wife, Kimberly, and my 4 children, Sky, Sadie, KK, Kalani Jr. we call him too, and then our baby girl Sylvia. So they've been amazing throughout the whole process, and they're the best supporters for us, and I appreciate them. Also want to tell the players how much I love them. They're amazing, and they make my job so enjoyable, and I love being around them. And being their coach has made me a better person the last 10 years, and I got a lot more improvement to make, so I plan to be around for a while to get better. But I'm so proud and honored to be their coach.
Special stuff from Kalani Sitake, and also the love bomb comment, the connection he has with BYU fans, Cougar Nation. Here was Kalani.
Finally, I just want to express my love to all the fans. My wife said that the last day or so was probably one of her favorites, and my family, and she called it a love bomb from all the fans, and it's hard to leave when you have something so special, and you have amazing people that support us. And so I'm just grateful that I get to be around the amazing fans, and to make things easier, we'll just quit all the drama, and I'm here, that way people don't have to stop in the middle of the road. It's not safe, and roll the windows down and yell at me to stay. There was a student that sat out here by my parking spot with a sign, and I asked him how long he was waiting there, and he said a couple hours. He had no idea when I was going to be there, and gave him a hug and took a picture of him. But the fans all over the place. It's super special when social media can be toxic and dangerous sometimes, and so negative. Thank you for making it a loving place where my children can feel proud of their dad, and I could just be really proud of the friends that I got to make, and the memories. And so those are things that we get to hang on to forever. And so I still have a goal of hugging every fan, every BYU fan. I got close in the last 10 years, but I feel like there's going to be more. So anyways, I want to get back to the game and the focus on the game. That's the goal here. I think that we can. I'm a low maintenance guy, so as you can see, I just came from practice, so this is what I wear. It's all free, and so I just plan on just let's get the focus back on the boys, back on us playing Texas Tech, and this amazing conference with the Big 12 with a great commissioner like Brett Yormark, and looking forward to the matchup against Texas Tech this weekend. And let's have more fun with that, and we can just I can answer the questions from you guys, but we can just move on and know that this is settled and get back to the game. So love you guys.
Awesome stuff from Kalani Sitake. I think that emotion was as real as it gets, man. BYU football has this amazing connection. I think a lot of programs, do this, but I think with BYU, it's special because it's connected to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And for members of the church, that means a lot. And that stretch Y represents the church for many people, and it connects them to their faith. And man, but even if you're not a member of the church, it's a program that's entertaining. It's fun. It's great style of play, fun environment, family environment. It's a great experience. It's just wholesome fun. Even when it's, tough times where BYU's losing games in those stretches, and Kalani's experienced that 2017, 2023, From 2018, 19, it was a lot of mediocrity. And there were some ups and downs. But even through it all, BYU football just has this pull on people. And the emotion from Kalani Sitake, he understands that. He understands Cougar Nation. And it was cool to see Cougar fans rally around Kalani Sitake on social media because, honestly, I've thought to myself and really expressed this to people, I think Kalani's been undervalued and underappreciated at times from Cougar Nation, where they feel like, oh, Jay Hill would be better. And look, I think Jay Hill would be awesome, but Kalani's the right guy. He's the man to lead the program, and Kalani and Jay together, that's an incredible duo. One of the best duos you're going to find in the sport, coaching football. And Aaron Roderick lets his ego at the door. He doesn't care about putting up 40, 50 points, even though I think everyone would love to see it. I know I'd enjoy seeing that, but still, it's just as effective to win a game 24-10. So it was a really memorable moment going to that press conference, and it was great to be back in the student athlete building. We don't get to do that very often anymore. It's always Mondays or on Zoom, so we don't get to actually be in person and talk to Kalani in person instead of a highly emotional post-game press conference, win or lose. It's nice to something celebratory for Kalani and see all the popular faces, the Crumble CEO, Jason McGowan, Ryan Smith. See everyone there, Elder Gifford Nilsson. So it's good stuff for Kalani Sitake and the BYU program. You know what was also good stuff? BYU's history in conference championship games. Saturday will mark the first time BYU's in a conference championship game since 1998. And I thought, with it being Thursday, it's perfect time for a Throwback Thursday. And the memorable conference championship game was in 1996 when BYU took on Wyoming, and they got it done against the Pokes.
The new Western Athletic Conference boasted 16 teams spread over 9 states, 4,000 miles, in 5 time zones. Split equally into 2 divisions, Pacific and Mountain, the regular season division winners met in Las Vegas for the inaugural WAC Championship. With 17 conference titles already to its credit, BYU represented the Mountain Division, and it was fitting that the Wyoming Cowboys would be the Pacific representative. The longtime rivals are 2 charter members of the original conference. In celebration, the WAC in the city of Las Vegas rolled out the red carpet with pregame festivities fit for a bowl game. Like BYU, Wyoming enjoyed an outstanding regular season marred by only 1 loss. With an explosive offense led by senior quarterback Josh Walworth and sensational receiver Marcus Harris, the Cowboys felt they had something to prove. Sensitive to the media buzz that the conference would benefit more from a Cougar win and a possible alliance invitation.
Everybody involved with the WAC would like to see BYU win, just because, the notoriety for the conference and for the university themselves. But, we're just here. We're the Cowboys, and we're not the Cougars, and we're not BYU this, we're not BYU that. We're Wyoming Cowboys, and we're 10-1. They're 11-1. We're here to play. It's we'll see who wins tomorrow. It's just coming down to that. Talk's about over.
On game day, more than 41,000 Rockets fans and a national television audience converged on sold-out Sam Boyd Stadium. The event lived up to its billing, delivering better television ratings than the Big 12 and SEC championship games that day.
Today, we bring you the Western Athletic Conference Championship between the 20th-ranked Cowboys of Wyoming and the 6th-ranked Cougars of BYU. Huge stakes today, because if Lavelle Edwards' team wins, they could get an at-large berth in an Alliance Bowl.
From Mercer Island, Washington, the senior, the only year you're going to see him. The snap is back, it is down, it is up, and it is good! BYU wins the WAC! The BYU Cougars are Western Athletic Conference champions! The Cougars have won the WAC!
that? Greg Wrubell's first call in the booth on the radio, filling in for Paul James. BYU gets it done, wins the WAC championship. That was the first ever WAC championship game. BYU was in the first one. And that cool little nugget about higher TV ratings than the SEC and the Big 12. That was a dynamite game in prime time, network TV. BYU had the Bowl Alliance on the line. Championship games were kind of still a novel concept. The SEC got it going in the early 90s. But then the WAC, the Big 12, the Big 10 still didn't have one. The ACC, I think, was a little bit later in the early 2000s. That was a cool game. I wish I could have been there to see that one. I remember watching that game with my dad, my uncle, a lot of extended family in West Valley City. That was a memory that'll last a lifetime. But 41,000 fans, sold out crowd for that one. And it was crazy too. The WAC championship had 3 years of existence, 96, 97, and 98. BYU played in the 98 game against Air Force. They lost that one 20-17. And that one had 32,000 fans. It was a morning game, if I remember right. It was about 10 a.m. kick. The 1997 WAC championship was New Mexico and Colorado State, had like 12,000 fans. That just goes to show you BYU carried that league. And Wyoming had a lot of fans too at that game, at that BYU-Wyoming game. Joe Tiller, Lavelle Edwards. Gosh, it's been 27 years since BYU was in a conference championship game. And it's kind of, when you think about it too, it's only the third season since that 98 meeting in the WAC championship. This year is the third season that BYU's had the path to a championship game. 99 to 2010, it was in the Mountain West. There was no Mountain West Conference championship game. And then from 2011 to 2022, it was Independence. No conference anything. And then 23, 24, 25, the Big 12. So once again, no matter the league, no matter the circumstances, BYU finds ways to win and get to the highest levels of a conference. So when people say, if you were in the SEC, you'd lose half your games. Well, maybe in the first year, yeah. Let them get some SEC resources and let's see what happens then. Ever thought of that? Gosh. Seemed to like when you start playing these teams, you start to naturally level up. What was Kalani's thing in year 2 of the Big 12? Well, it's like being a first-time parent. First-time parent, you just don't know. Second time, you know everything. It's kind of what it is. Let's take our final timeout. On the other side, we'll get to some storylines for BYU and Texas Tech as we continue to count down till Saturday for the Big 12 championship game right here on Cougar Tracks. Welcome back into Cougar Tracks here on KSL News Radio and the KSL Sports YouTube page. Mitch Harper with you. Coming up on Saturday, BYU, number 11 BYU versus number 4 Texas Tech in a rematch opportunity against the Red Raiders. And on the line is the Big 12 championship, AT&T Stadium. Third game ever for BYU in Jerry's World. Cougars played I want to say the second game ever in AT&T Stadium. I think, oddly enough, it was Bingham High School played the first game ever at AT&T Stadium back in 2009. And then the following week, BYU played the Oklahoma Sooners. They won that game. And then in 2011, 2 years later, BYU lost to TCU in Arlington. But now it's Kalani Sitake leading BYU against Joey McGuire, who also this week got a new contract extension. Texas Tech's coach Joey McGuire extended through 2032. So you got 2 head coaches, and that's a great storyline for the broadcast on Saturday where you're promoting these teams and these coaches as being kind of the leaders of the Big 12 potentially. Look at the recruiting rankings. BYU and Texas Tech. Tech's 1, BYU's 2. This could potentially be the top 2 programs in this league going forward. Nothing's ever stable completely in the Big 12, but BYU stacked up 2 really good years with a lot of different personnel in these 2 years, particularly at quarterback, and Texas Tech is not slowing down at all the way that they're building rosters and their strategic ways of going about identifying personnel. And I think Joey McGuire's a heck of a coach too. And I think Saturday is going to be one heck of a game. The availability report came out on Wednesday night during the BYU basketball game where BYU took down Cal Baptist. BYU, the players that are out. Max Alford, linebacker, he remains out. Such a bummer for Max to be out for the Big 12 championship game. Such a bummer. Questionable tight end Kean Need. Probable, here's where it gets interesting, Chase Roberts, he's expected to play. That was noted last week by Kalani Sitake. Sione Moa, running back for the Cougars, he is probable. Now remember, last week against UCF, Sione, he was suited up in pregame warmups. Didn't play, but he was suited up. And this year, too, can count as a red shirt for Sione Moa, so he's probable for Saturday. Also, Nusi Talmoy-Payao, the Sam linebacker, defensive end. Ulavai Fetuli, defensive tackle. And then safety, Peyton Van Steenkiste, also. On the Texas Tech side of things, probably the most notable aspect is the quarterback, Baron Morton. He's probable. He practiced without a boot for the first time since suffering a lower leg injury on October 11th. Remember that game on November 8th where Texas Tech won 29-7 against BYU? Baron Morton was pretty hobbled. He was 17 of 32 in that game against BYU, 219 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no picks, but wasn't great. Sounds like he's maybe getting a little bit healthier if he's not practicing with a boot, which he's been dealing with throughout the week since that injury back about 2 months ago in October. Also of note, David Bailey, he's probable. Cole Wisniewski, he's also probable as well. So BYU and Texas Tech, by all accounts, pretty healthy. They're a little bit banged up, and I think for Texas Tech, they're highly motivated to win this game because they want that first round bye, get a top 4 seed, and get completely rested up for the quarterfinals, and then away they go and try to make a run at getting to the national championship game. And I think Texas Tech is good enough to make that happen. I think BYU is a team that absolutely deserves to be in the college football playoff, and these two teams are going to be squaring off in what should be a sold-out crowd. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark pointed that out in his press conference on Monday, but then it was reported on Wednesday that the Big 12 is in fact expecting a sellout, which is awesome for the league. Because last year's crowd between Iowa State and Arizona State, you're thinking, ooh, this new 16-team Big 12, they might have to change that championship venue because that was a ghost town. My old co-host on Cougar Sports Saturday, Matt Biamonte, who's now with the BYU Sports Network, he was there in Arlington. We were getting live updates from the stadium with him because he bought tickets to go as a fan to if BYU was going to play in the Big 12 championship game. He still went and basically gave just a bleak outlook of how empty it was. This will not be the case. I would expect Texas Tech fans are going to have more fans in this one, but BYU it's not unreasonable to think 35, maybe 40% crowd. That might be a little too optimistic, but I think there'll be a great showing of BYU fans as well. Never underestimate BYU fans showing up in this game. And I think for BYU, the team, they got to show up in this game, and I'm optimistic that they will. I was optimistic back on November 8th too, but when you kind of look back at it, you go, games in Lubbock, LJ wasn't full strength, early kick, they arrived late on Friday, they're arriving in Arlington today. I'm going to be flying out as well after this show. Just, there was kind of a lot there that it made sense where that was Texas Tech's day. College game day was there for the Red Raiders. I mean, Raiderville, all that. It was just the buildup was insane. And I'm really curious, too, to see just this momentum that is created by Kalani's extension, what it does to this team. As I think Brian Santiago noted in the presser, they're going to blow the roof off this thing. Like, you can just sense from Chase Roberts, Tanner Wall, they are so dialed in. Jay Hill was pretty loose at signing day press conference yesterday. I mean, he was happy-go-lucky. You thought might be you're getting ready to face the number 4 team ranked in the country. And Texas Tech's offense is in a juggernaut, but still they're pretty dang good, man. They're really good. It's going to be a great game. We'll dive deep into the matchup tomorrow with our preview show at 7 to 9 and then also Cougar Tracks at noon. But Bear Bachmeier, he's got to find a way to win this game, I think, through the air, potentially. He was 23 of 38 in the first meeting against Tech, 188 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That was to Jacob Rodriguez, the Heisman Trophy candidate. Because the ground attack, I think LJ is going to be a lot more productive. He only had 10 carries for 35 yards. But still, anything more than, if he could get to 90, that would be a huge win. Then it becomes, can you get it done through the air and maybe make the short passing game almost like a rush offense where you're getting some quick hitters to your wide receivers, and can Parker Kingston make some shifty moves and showcase that speed and pop off a big play? Can Chase Roberts do that too? Because those guys have done that a lot this season to help Bear Bachmeier. But there's also been stretches too where these receivers have dropped a lot of passes. No drops. Can't have any drops. That's going to be key for BYU too. I also think the defense has got to be stout, stopping Texas Tech's running backs. They are so undervalued, I think, Texas Tech's running backs. Cameron Dickey, Jacoby Williams, excellent ball carriers. They combined for 198 between the two of them on 36 carries on November 8th. BYU has to be more stout against the run against Texas Tech. And I think BYU's got to be +3 in turnovers. I do. I think they got to be +3 in this game to win it. Again, you don't have to be perfect, and +3 is high. That is a high amount, but you've got to be at least +2. You cannot be minus at all in this one. But +2, +3, I like BYU's odds of being in the fourth quarter and having a chance to win it. It's going to be a great game. Kickoff at 10 a.m. John Pardee, halftime performer. It was great to hear him in the press conference. Gosh, cannot wait. Big 12 championship, man. I got to go catch a plane, get a fly down to Arlington, Texas, Dallas. Let's do this thing. Let's go cover this thing. BYU and Texas Tech. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on Cougar Tracks, and it's powered by KSL Sports.